Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be picking out my April TBR, and usually I just go for books that I'm in the mood for, but I really don't know what I want to read this month, so I thought we would jump on the bandwagon and make a TBR jar. So here's my little tin that has loads of different prompts in, and this is what is going to help us choose this month's TBR. Now, before we get into this, May's TBR did not quite go to plan. I don't know who I thought I was putting 3 books that were over 600 pages on there. Yeah, so I didn't get to as many as I'd hoped, but I managed to read 3 that were on the TBR, and I'm partway through Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. So I've made progress, just not as much as I would have liked. Also, before we get into this, the lighting is pants, I'm sorry. The sun has gone and it's a bit rainy outside. So without further ado, let's pick our first prompt. Oh, they're all stuck together. So, prompt 1 is a manga. Okay. Can you see that? Okay, I've not read a manga in a long time, but I have a few on my shelves to choose from. So I think for this one, I'm going to choose Spy Family Volume 1. I've had this for quite a while and I just haven't had the urge to pick it up. I went through a phase after reading Orange Volume 1 of getting into manga, and then that slowly disappeared. So I have a few first volumes in loads of different manga series that I've just not got round to. But I guess this is a month that I will start Spy Family Volume 1. Let's pick book number 2. So pick 2 is the oldest book on my TBR. I really didn't want this one, I can't lie. Okay. So I bought these 2 around the same time, and I think these are the 2 oldest on my TBR. So we have either Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell or Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. And to be honest, I'm not in the mood for either of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read like the first page and pick one. Okay, so I've decided to go for Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, just based on the intrigue on the first page. This one intrigued me a bit more than this one, but again, I'm really not in the mood for either of these. So I don't know much about this, so I'm just going to read off the back, and it says, Piranesi lives in the house, perhaps he always has. The messages begin to appear, scratched out in chalk on the pavements. There is someone new in the house, but who are they and what do they want? Lost texts must be found, secrets must be uncovered. The world that Piranesi thought he knew is becoming strange and dangerous. The beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what this is about. The back doesn't give off much, but I know it is loved by a lot of people, so that fills me with some hope. Let's do pick number 3. Okay. So pick number 3 is a romance. So a romance. I think for this one, I'm going to choose When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I've heard a lot of good things about this. And this follows Amelia Rose, who has spent years maintaining her public image as a pop princess Ray Rose. But through the burnout of this, she decides to take off in the night to Rome, but not Italy Rome, Rome, Kentucky. And there she meets Noah Walker, who is busy running a pie shop his grandmother left him. and I guess they just form a romance from there. Again, as I said, I've heard so many good things about this. I'm a bit skeptical because I don't like romance books where there's one person is famous. So I'm hoping we don't spend too long with that, but I think we might. But we'll see how I get on with it. Pick number 4. I've got James just staring right at me. Is a new release. Just trying to see what I'm showing you. What's this? So I have a few on my shelf, but Funny Story by Emily Henry is released on the 26th of April, and it is a book that I really, really want to read. So I think we're going to have to go for that one. Yeah. So for a new release, Funny Story by Emily Henry. Pick 5 is pick number 5 is a book with orange on the cover. You want to see too? I don't actually know if I've got that many options. We could do Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. This has got some orange on the cover. But I don't know if I'm really in the mood for that. I think I'm going to go for Pew by Catherine Lacey, which has a lot of orange on the cover, just because I'm feeling a more literary fiction book this month, I think. And this follows this person who's found sleeping in a church, but he has no identity, and it's up to the townspeople to uncover who they are. So they don't know their gender, race, age, or the intentions of them being there. And I guess we just follow the townspeople trying to uncover who this mystery person is. This sounds really interesting. I was meant to read it last year, but I didn't, so yeah. Pick number 6. If I haven't said already, I'm going to do 8, just because I'm averaging between 7 and 10 books a month. So I think 8 is a good number. Oh, okay. So number 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, pick number 6 is a KU book. I've got my Kindle, and let's see what we can choose. So I'm thinking we could choose either Mountains Made of Glass by Scarlett St. Clare, which is a fairy tale retelling. We could do When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen do the rounds on BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram. I certainly have, and my sister's recently read it and said that I would love it, but that's a big book. Okay, I'm very sorry about the lighting. I've had to put the big light on because it was just very grey, so sorry about that. Or I'm kind of in a romance mood, so I might pick, if it's going to load, Throttled by Lauren Asher. Recently entered the F1 scene, and so now, of course, I just want to read loads of F1 romance. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for Throttled by Lauren Asher. Okay, so now pick 7. Well, they're all stuck together again. So for pick 7, we have a book on a previous TBR. This is quite an easy one. I'm going to pick Elektra by Jennifer Saint, which was on March's TBR, and I'm actually really sad I didn't get round to it. So hopefully by adding it onto this one as well, I can read it this month. So our final prompt is a previous book club book. So I'm not part of any in-person book clubs, but I am part of Jodie's Patreon, who's got the channel Vanilla Moon, and she has monthly book clubs. And I've also part of Sunbeam Jess's Patreon, who has book club books. So do I have any? I've just wrecked my shelf trying to find this, but I have Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, which is one of Jesse's previous book club picks. So it follows Yazid, who is hoping for a miracle for a child. It's all her husband wants, all her mother-in-law wants, and she has tried everything. But when her relatives insist upon a new wife, it is too much for Yazid to bear. Unraveling against the social and political turbulence of 1980s Nigeria, Stay With Me is a story of the fragility of married love, the undoing of family, the power of grief, and the all-consuming bonds of motherhood. It sounds really interesting. It sounds like it could be quite emotional, but also a very powerful read. So I'm actually really excited to finally get to this one. So that wraps up my April TBR using my TBR jar. This was actually really fun. And I'm just going to run through the books and the prompts that we got for them. For a previous book club book, we got Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. For a book on a previous TBR, we have Elektra by Jennifer Saint. For a book with orange on the cover, we have Pew by Catherine Lacey. For a romance, we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. For the oldest book on your TBR, I have Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. For a manga, we have Spy Family Volume 1. And then we also have a new release, which will be Funny Story by Emily Henry, and a KU read, which is Throttled by Lauren Asher. Thank you so much for joining me for my first TBR jar video. I hope to do some more of these, or like some different ways to pick out my TBR rather than me just picking some off the shelves. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you have any other prompt suggestions that I can add into the jar, please comment them below, and also make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great month. Goodbye.